Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the new lecture of Industrial Pharmacy. I am Shoaib Muhammad, lecturer in the Department of Pharmaceutics, Faculty of Pharmacy, University of Sindh. In this chapter, we will be discussing about sterile products, specifically the product development of the sterile product. The material for this chapter has been adapted from the theory and practice of industrial pharmacy by Leon Lackman. So this is the outline of the chapter. In this, we will be firstly having the introduction of the sterile products. Then we will be discussing product development, vehicles used in sterile products, solutes, and finally we will be concluding the lecture. Firstly, the introduction. As you know that the sterile products are dosage forms of therapeutic agents that are free of viable microorganisms and any products of the microorganisms like the endo or exotoxins. Principally, the products that are included in sterile category are parenterals, ophthalmics, and irrigating preparations. Though in ophthalmic preparations we are not injecting the drug directly into the systemic circulation, but the tissues present into the eye are very sensitive, and that's why there is requirement of the sterile product preparation. While for the irrigating preparations which may be used for the rinsing of the wounds or cleaning of the wounds may also require the sterile area or sterile product manufacturing, because there are chances that the microorganisms may go into the systemic circulation or infect the wound if they are present into the formulation. In product development, we go through the considerations which should be made in the development of a sterile product. Like the intravenous and intraspinal preparations are rarely given in the form other than the aqueous solutions. That means most of the intravenous and intraspinal preparations are made as aqueous solutions, and solutions are more preferred in intravenous and intraspinal preparations. However, in certain of the situations, emulsions have also been administered through the intravenous or intraspinal route. However, there should be controlled particle size limit have been made during the development of the intravenous or intraspinal preparations. However, preparations that are given through intramuscular route, subcutaneous route, or intradermal route can be administered as solutions, suspensions, or emulsions. Solid pellets can also be implanted in through intramuscular route or subcutaneous route as well. During the product development phase, the consideration should also be made on the form of preparation made, because the form of preparation can affect onset, rapidity, duration, and absorption of the drug. Like the intravenous preparations have rapid onset of action because they are given into the solution form and they directly dissolve into the systemic circulation, and a rapid onset and a rapid effect is produced. However, if the action is required for a longer period of time, the preparation may be given through the intramuscular route in the form of suspensions or emulsions, which delay the action of the drug because the drug is moved from the site of injection to the systemic circulation slowly, therefore a effect for longer period of time may be produced. Similarly, the absorption of the drug can be affected by different systems of the solutions, suspensions, or emulsions. The product stability with consideration to the other components of the product should also be made. The sterile products may contain buffers wetting agents, solubilizing agents, tonicity modifiers. So these all should be in compatibility with the active pharmaceutical ingredient and with the excipients that are present into the formulation. The presence of even small quantities of the contaminants that may be physical or chemical may deteriorate the product. Like the minute traces of copper greatly accelerate the rate of oxidation of ascorbic acid in solution. These traces of copper may come from water vehicle, the chemical components, or even the container. Rigid specifications must therefore be developed for all ingredients. The specific considerations for vehicle and solutes are discussed in the next slides. Now the vehicle for the sterile products. Two types of the vehicles can be used for the sterile products. Number one are the aqueous vehicles and number two are the non-aqueous vehicles. In aqueous vehicles, water is the vehicle for most sterile products and a specific grade of water is used for the sterile preparations called as the water for injection. The United States Pharmacopoeia defines the requirements for water for injection. The inclusive test for the determination of quality of water is the total solid content. This test provides more specific quantities of all the solid ingredients, ions that may be associated or dissociated present in the water. But electrolyte measurement of conductivity is the least time consuming and most frequently used test. For the presence of other substances like pyrogen, other tests can be used. When comparing the total solids, higher values are permitted for sterile water for injection than water for injection. This is because the sterile water for injection has been sterilized usually by thermal method in a container that has dissolved to some extent in the water. Other tests may include qualitative and quantitative tests for the presence of copper and iron. The next test for the aqueous vehicles is the pyrogen test. The pyrogens are metabolic products of microorganisms, and the gram-negative microorganisms produce the most toxic pyrogens. Their presence in a sterile product may cause fever, chills, body ache, cutaneous vasoconstriction, and a rise in arterial blood pressure. The temperature can be controlled by the antipyretics, but the other adverse effects are rather difficult to be controlled with the drugs. The sources of pyrogen in sterile products may be due to water that is contaminated, solutes that may contain the pyrogens, and containers which are contaminated with the pyrogens. To make the water free of pyrogens, water can be made free from pyrogens by distillation and processing and storing at sterile conditions. The solute pyrogen content may be decreased or removed by making the solutes from pyrogen free vehicles. The containers can be made free from pyrogens by cleaning and heating at 210 degrees centigrade for 3 to 4 hours or at 650 degrees centigrade for 30 seconds. It is better to prevent pyrogenic contamination than to attempt to remove pyrogens. In some of the preparation, the water may be removed completely or partially due to the product stability. So the water will be replaced by the non-aqueous vehicles. For consideration of non-aqueous vehicles in the preparation of sterile products, their density, viscosity, miscibility, and polarity as well as its stability with the solvent activity and toxicity are made into consideration. Water miscible solvents include dioxolanes, dimethylacetamide, N-beta hydroxyethyl lactamide, butylene glycol, glycerine, and ethyl alcohol. Water immiscible solvents include fixed oils, ethyl oleate, isopropyl myristate, and benzyl benzoate. The most frequently used non-aqueous vehicles are polyethylene glycol, poly sorry, propylene glycol, and fixed oils. Solutes are the active pharmaceutical ingredients and excipients that are to be dissolved into the aqueous or non-aqueous vehicles. The chemical and physical purity of the solutes is of utmost importance. A few substances, even of special grade, are available for the preparation of the sterile products like the ascorbic acid and calcium gluconate. To decrease the contamination, particularly after the container has been opened, the containers are designed in such a way that the product present in the containers are used only for one time. The added substances may include solubilizers, antioxidants, chelating agents, buffers, tonicity modifiers, antibacterial agents, antifungals, hydrolysis inhibitors, and antifoaming agents. The antibacterial agents are required to inhibit the growth of the microorganisms in sterile products. They are used at bacteriostatic concentration in mostly the multi-dose vials and can also be used for sterilization of the certain sterile products. The specific concentration in percentage is given for different types of the antimicrobial preservatives used in the table. The antimicrobial preservatives may include benzyl alcohol, benzethonium chloride, butyl paraben, chlorobutanol, metacresol, methylparaben, myristyl gamma, picolinium chloride, phenol, phenyl mercury nitrate, propyl paraben, and thimerosal. The antioxidants are used to prevent the oxidation of the product due to various factors, specifically to prevent oxidation under accelerated conditions of thermal sterilization. Antioxidants may be reducing agents which are oxidized during the antioxidant action and reduce the substances that are causing the oxidation, while the blocking agents block the chain elongation process of the oxidation and are not used up during this process. Some other substances may act as synergists to these oxidants and act as inhibitors of catalysts. The synergist will increase the action of the antioxidants, while the inhibitors of catalysts will inhibit certain catalysts or the substances that are increasing the actions of the oxidizing agents. Oxidation reaction can also be inhibited by displacing air present in the container with nitrogen or carbon dioxide. The table presents the different antioxidants that are used in their usual concentration percentage. They have been classified into reducing agents, blocking agents, synergists, and chelating agents. The buffer maintains the pH of the product in a specific range because the pH of the product can change due to various factors. The change in pH may occur during storage as a result of dissolving of glass constituents in the product, release of constituents from rubber closures or plastic components, in contact with the product, dissolving of gases and various vapors from airspace in the containers, and diffusion through rubber or plastic components. The buffer must maintain pH of product against above influences rather than changing pH of the biological fluids, because most of the drugs are effective at the pH of biological fluids. Consideration should be made on their effective range, that which pH range they will maintain, in what concentration they should be used, and what will be the chemical effect on the total product. The table given provides the list of the different buffers that are used in the sterile products and their concentration range in percentage. The sterile products also require the tonicity modifiers or the tonicity contributors. The tonicity modifiers reduce pain of injection in the areas with nerve endings. The certain other types of the substances can also contribute in maintaining the tonicity of the product, including the buffers. So actually the tonicity is a product of the colligative products properties of different substances. So different types of the products that are the excipients that are used into the product may contribute to the tonicity and maintain the tonicity of our product. However, if even it is not maintained, we might use certain tonicity contributors for maintaining the tonicity of our product. The tonicity of the product can be determined by freezing point depression or more effectively with hemolytic method using red blood cells. The table shows the different tonicity modifiers and their concentration range in percentage. The table on the current slide provides the list of solubilizers, wetting agents or emulsifiers used in the sterile products. The solubilizers will increase the solubility of the active pharmaceutical ingredient. The wetting agents will increase the wettability of the different ingredients and help in the formation of the suspensions, and emulsifier will help in the preparations of the emulsions. The table on the current slides shows the list of suspending agents that cannot be used as solubilizing agents or the emulsifiers in the sterile products along with their concentration percentage range. The chelating agents that can be used into the sterile products. Local anesthetics that can be used to decrease the pain produced by certain sterile products, and stabilizers for the sterile products. So in this lecture we have discussed about the product development of the sterile products. And to the product development we consider two main things. Number one are the vehicles and second are the solutes. The vehicle for the sterile products may be aqueous or the non-aqueous vehicles. The aqueous vehicles include water, and there are different types of the tests that may be performed on water to determine the quality of water, and the specific grade of water used for the sterile preparations is called as the water for injection. The test used for the determination of different substances present in water may include the total solids contents, or we can also use the electrolytic measurement of conductivity for determination of the different dissociated and undissociated organic and inorganic substances present in the water. For the presence of the pyrogens, we may use the pyrogen tests. It is preferable that we should make the product pyrogen free rather than making it later on or removing the pyrogens later on. In certain other situations we might have to displace the water and maybe completely or partially, and that's why we have to use the non-aqueous solvents. And for the non-aqueous solvents we have to make certain considerations that they are stable with our products. The next product development consideration was about the solutes. The solutes are the different substances that include the active pharmaceutical ingredient and the excipients that are to be dissolved into the vehicles. Along with the active pharmaceutical ingredients, we might require antibacterial agents as preservatives against the microbial growth, and the antibacterial agents are used into the multi-dose vials or may be used in certain situations for the sterilization purpose. We also use the antioxidants to prevent the product oxidation, and for which we have the reducing agents and the blocking agents. Along with that, we might use these synergists or other substances which inhibit the catalytic action of certain substances in the oxidation. We may also require the buffers which will maintain the pH of our product against the different factors like the ingredients leaking out from the glass or the plastic containers, the interaction with the products. So these may cause changes into the pH and deterioration of the product. But while using or maintaining the range of the pH, we have also make it to the consideration that it is not changing the pH of the product in the biological fluids. We also require tonicity modifiers to improve the tonicity of the substances.